All right. It's the holiday season. It's cold. It's snowing. But there's still no excuses because it's time to go to work. Jerk of All Trades Podcast, episode number 37. Ray, what is up, man?
We're not on winter break. We are here. We are live. And we are here for your listening pleasure. Got a great show today. As always, lots of great topics. Got John Cena is going to be going up against Ford. He thought they couldn't see him, and in fact, they could see his every move. So not a good decision for him. If you're playing Christmas music on your phone, you are doubling down on depression. We're going to talk about that. We are going to reach for Nirvana, both the band and the state of enlightenment. But first, we got a little update. This is... So first off, RIP, at least for now, net neutrality, and Ajit Pai. I wanted to play his video that he put out. I believe this came out a couple days before the net neutrality vote.
So he's the FCC commissioner?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes. And yeah, he's kind of a dick.
Yeah.
So
this photo of him holding the Nerf gun is kind of funny in Fidget Spinner.
Yeah. So all right, so I'm going to play the video up. Let me know when you're ready. Are you ready, Eddie?
Let's do it.
Hi, I'm Ajit Pai. I'm the chairman of the FCC.
And we hate you.
Recently, there's been quite a bit of conversation about my plan to restore internet freedom. Here are just a few of the things you'll still be able to do on the internet after these Obama-era regulations are repealed. You can still gram your food.
Eat it. Eat that shit.
He's not going to eat it. Oh my
You
god.
can still post photos of cute animals, like puppies.
This is like what completely out of touch people think that the internet is.
Yeah.
Fidget Spinners. Yes! Those Eclipse glasses are so cheap!
Green screen for days.
Oh, no doubt.
You can still binge watch your favorite shows.
Game of Thrones torrents for the win.
Hell yeah.
You can still stay part
You
of
can
your
still
favorite
legally
thing.
stream. Well, you won't be able to legally stream anymore.
So he's telling us what we get. What are we losing is my question.
Right. You notice how this is all about, like,
Right into the ground.
you know, oh, here's. My mind is boggled that young people are actually in this video.
They're plants.
Yeah.
And everything else.
Do you want to go
ever
behind
do
the
on internet.
scenes? No, I don't. All right. So, like, what I really notice about this is this really ignores a giant first off, it ignores the problem of the net neutrality repeal. And it also just, like, it really, it plays into just nerd culture, Everyone that goes on the internet is a nerd, and they post pictures of their food, and they like Star Wars and fidget spinners and, like their children, basically. It's just, to me...
They can't be any less nerdy than this guy.
Yeah, it's just... it's so pathetic. It's so sad. Like, he's trying to appeal to that demographic by making fun of them, I guess. And yeah, it didn't work for me. So, but I thought the funny thing about that, though, is that the Harlem Shake record label is trying to take down his stupid anti-net neutrality video. So a few days ago, and what was somehow only the third or fourth most obnoxious thing he's done this week. Fuck that fucking... Did you see his giant Reese's coffee mug?
No.
He's got like a giant coffee mug.
At first I thought you were going to say Reese's Monkey.
No Reese's Monkey. I would like the Reese's Monkey to
man.
steal his coffee and throw it in his face.
Sure.
But anyway, he released the video, which misses the whole point of people's arguments against his plan. Interesting. I haven't read this before, but yeah, absolutely. So he capped off his video with the fucking Harlem Shake, a meme so old it doesn't even clear the bar of notability for a joke about running memes into the ground. So meanwhile, though, that particular musical cue has attracted the ire of the people who own and created it, with Harlem Shake author Bauer and record label Mad Decent, which owned by producer Diplo, both expressing their anger at its use. Mad Decent went as far as to issue an official statement about the video, stating that he intends to do everything in his power to take the mocking, arrogant missive down. So I'm taking action, whatever I can do to stop this loser. So anyway, fuck you.
To be continued.
Yes,
the internet will not go down without a fight.
No, it's not going to. And, we'll have all of those stupid, terrible things that he talked about, And at the end he says, oh, and you can do everything else too, Okay, I'll believe it when I see it. So, all right. So, on to the next story. So our next story, we're going to talk about Keaton Jones, but I wanted to start it off and I wanted to play the original video from this. So.
Unless you've been living under a rock, you probably heard about this story already.
Yeah. So let's play the video and then we'll chat about this. So.
Just out of curiosity, why do they bully? What's the point of it? Why do I join taken?
I believe I commented that it's because your mom doesn't turn the camera to wide when she films you.
What did they say to you?
Told me they make fun of my nose. They call me ugly. They say I have no friends.
What'd they do to you at lunch?
Poured milk on me and put a hand down my clothes. Threw right at me.
Is it just you?
Yep.
Or is it other kids too that feel that way?
Say it's other kids too.
How's
Is she leading him?
She's quick with the questions.
Yeah. Is she interrogating her son?
Not okay. People that are different don't need to be.
Does he know he's being
criticized.
filmed?
I don't know. This really does
It's not their fault.
it's very exploitive, I feel like.
But if you
It
want
does
to
feel
make
like
fun
it a
of
little
it,
bit.
Don't
She tried to
let
say
it
that
bother you.
he wanted to make the video. I don't know if I buy that.
Hard. But it'll probably get better one day.
When you turn into a mass murderer. All right, so
Craziness.
So there it is, Keaton Jones. So, what a fucking crazy story. Why don't you hit this one, Eddie, and tell him a little bit about it?
Yeah, I mean, I call myself Eddie the Jerk. Ray calls himself Ray the Jerk. We are the Jerk of All Trades podcast. But if you get to know us, we are actually pretty decent guys. We don't condone bullying for the most part.
For the most part.
Well, I mean,
I'm pretty sure Eddie is.
If that Ajit Pai somehow ended up getting bullied, I might turn a blind eye to it maybe a little bit. But yeah, this is just a really sad story. And there's a twist to it after the video surfaced. This kid's only 11 years old. He's from Knoxville, Tennessee. His mom filmed him after being bullied mercilessly at school. And she posted the
poured
video.
Milk on him. They put ham in his clothes, apparently.
Yeah, milk and ham, and said shit about his nose and
bread at him.
At least didn't get too violent. But the mom posted it to the internet.
He looked
Facebook.
like he had gotten beaten up, though.
You think so?
I mean, was that just?
He could have. I don't know.
In this political climate, I don't want to make any further comment. I mean, I didn't think that was how he normally looked. I thought that he had gotten beaten up. It looked like he had some bumps and bruises and stuff.
Oh, okay, yeah. But yeah, I mean, there was a lot of people on Twitter and Instagram, like from Dana White to Justin Bieber to
Donald Trump. Donald Trump tweeted at Dana White that Dana White had offered for him to come to the UFC headquarters, and Trump tweeted at Dana White that if he needed somewhere to stay, he could stay at the White House when he was going there. So
that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
even though the UFC headquarters is in Las Vegas.
Oh god!
And the White House is nowhere near Las Vegas.
Or maybe he was saying that he could stay at wherever Trump.
Maybe like one of Trump's places out there in Vegas.
Like his wife's fucking place. We spend millions of dollars to send her to.
Even like Samoa Joe tweeted some about in support of Keaton and everything. And it blew up. It blew up huge all over Twitter, Instagram, social media, Facebook. His Patreon account reached over $58,000
So just to
in less
mention,
than 24 hours.
the Patreon page was actually not created by him or his family. It was actually created by someone else, with the hopes that they could get that money to Keaton and his family after that person was touched by the story.
Sure, yeah, probably to help pay for the kids' college funds.
Not touched like Matt Lauer, but
No. How did we not cover that?
oh man,
Craziness. But
Yeah.
here's the twist to all this. His mom had a Facebook page posting photos of her children with Confederate flags, which she has claimed that
looking at that right now.
they're actually a joke. The picture's a joke.
Right,
but,
they're ironic. She says that there's the picture of just her with the Confederate flag laughing, and she said, "How ironic is this? You know, because she's like the least racist person that's ever been. You know, in where is this?
Knoxville, Tennessee.
Knoxville, Tennessee.
Not buying it.
Which still makes her incredibly fucking racist.
Yeah,
you know,
not buying it. Sorry.
yeah, so it's irony, even though her. Well, I'll let you cover that one. So yeah, the mom. Here's the thing, you know,
suspect as fuck.
The mom is quite suspect for sure. I mean, she was making some posts that seemed to say, let me find where. Butt hurt Americans and said, if you aren't bleeding and no bones are sticking out and you can breathe, stop crying. Posted 2 weeks after white supremacists converged in Charlottesville, Virginia. Many on social media took it as a commentary on the Unite the Right rally that turned deadly. She said it wasn't about that. So,
God damn. And now apparently his father is in prison. Keaton's father is in prison and is like a uber white supremacist with gang affiliated tattoos that say like pure breed and everything but white power tattooed all over his body. And he's serving I'm not sure what he's serving for in prison, but he's in prison right now.
I don't know that the story said that when it broke. TMZ actually broke the story.
Can't help but feel sorry for this kid.
Yeah.
With shitty fucking parents like that. And to have to deal with it each and every day, because you have to think that the kids at school know about what's going on with this kid.
For sure.
And that could possibly be a portion of why he's being bullied, not just because of the way he looks or the way he talks or how he acts. It could be because people don't like the fact that his mom and dad are racist as fuck, and they're taking it out on this poor little kid. And just because his parents are fucking racist doesn't mean this kid is fucking racist.
Absolutely. Well, I will say that I don't know that it's actually been confirmed now, but there was a story that that the mom had said something about him being bullied at school, and that it may have been because he had called some kids the N-word. I don't know that that's actually been
I don't know if that's
confirmed.
confirmed.
I don't know if that's confirmed now. I know that somebody had created a fake conversation with the mom. So, but we do know, the dad, clearly racist. He had a post on his Facebook from 2014 that said Aryan Pride. Another one with the polar bear with the text, "Holy fuck, I love being white," emblazoned on it. So clearly he's got, there's no question about him. He's not going to be talking about how, dude, it's just ironic that I have pure breed tattooed on me, because I'm clearly, not.
God damn, man.
So,
I love mom, and I walked out with pure breed. I don't know how that happened.
I thought it was a funny joke. So I agree, though, it's not this kid's fault. I mean, he's growing up in an environment where he doesn't know any better. But at the same time, the information superhighway currently exists in its current form, and you could find other information. But I mean, obviously, as he gets older, maybe he will do that. Hopefully,
he's a well-spoken young man, and like I'm willing to give him the benefit of the doubt as far as calling kids the N-word and stuff like that. It would be a shame if that ended up being the truth, but I'm willing to give him the benefit of the doubt, and he seems like a smart kid. And I think he's just in a really shitty situation right now, super, super shitty situation where, clearly this kid might benefit from being in a foster home or like being adopted possibly instead of being raised, or, his father's in prison and probably not suitable to raise him, even if he was at home. And his mother clearly is having issues, beyond raising children. So I feel bad for the kid, and I hope that that money that they raise for him can get him away from that crappy household that he's in.
Yeah.
If he wants it, maybe he wants to, he probably loves his mom and probably doesn't want any other mom or dad, because I'm the same way. I love my parents and
Right.
shit.
You don't know any better. You don't know that you're living in a dysfunctional household. So it's a sad story. I'm always interested by stuff like this and how something blows up like virally like that. It's got to be crazy to be, just a regular old person living in Knoxville, Tennessee, and all of a sudden your shit blows up. You're on every fucking like website. You're on TV. You're going to all these crazy places.
Yeah.
And everything you ever
The
have
president
done
is tweeting about you.
Everything you've ever done online is being scrutinized, and you better hope that you don't have pictures with Confederate flags on your social media when shit like this blows up. So
Yeah, fuck that. I'm already blown up on fucking social media.
Yeah.
They're gonna find all my pictures on the JOAT Instagram,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
no big deal there.
Yeah.
But you ever been bullied before, Ray? Probably, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, me too, man. It sucks. Like I think just about anybody, a pre-millennial generation, has been bullied quite regularly throughout their life.
I think but you were sort of a bully too, though, right?
Early on, I was bullied by the older kids because growing up, my friends were always older than me. It was just like my preference because older kids were smarter, older kids were better at sports. So like I tried to keep up with the older kids as far as being
Keeping up with the Jones.
Yeah, just trying to keep up with the smarties and the fucking the jocks and stuff. Because if I'm in 4th grade and I can play b-ball with the 6th graders, then obviously I must be pretty good,
Shooting
right?
some b-ball outside of a school when a couple of guys that were up to no good started making trouble in your neighborhood. You got in one little fight and your mom got mad. She said you're moving with your auntie and uncle in Bel Air.
Yeah.
You whistled for a cab and when it came near, the license plate said fresh and it had dice in the mirror. If anything, you could say that this cab was rare, but you said, nah, forget it. Yo, Holmes, to Bel Air. All right, I could do the rest, but we'll leave it at that.
I pulled up.
About 7 or 8. And I yelled at the cab, yo, Holmes, spell you later. I looked at my kingdom. I was finally there, sat on my throne as the Prince of Bel Air.
Yeah, so I mean that's pretty much my story. I started out actually getting bullied, and then as a condition of my environment, I turned into somewhat of a bully myself. It's a shame to have to admit it, and honestly, it made me. I realized how bad it was the first time I got high and I looked in the mirror, and then like I had all these memories of like being shitty to the younger kids around me. And I didn't know any better because that was how I was brought up. It was like I got shit on. So I just figured, hey, I'm going to shit on these other kids too.
I think a lot of the bullying thing too is like, obviously, going along with the crowd. And because a lot of people, they don't want to be the one that's being victimized. They don't want to be the one that's being bullied. And so, redirect it to someone else. I think that's a big part of it.
This is way before the internet. This is way before anybody.
I can't imagine how complicated it is for kids now, man.
Yeah, well, it's easier now, you would think, because like if there's a problem, you just post a video on it on social media. The principal of the school sees it, and then all of a sudden it's taken care of.
Dude, it's got to be more complicated though, because you've got people now that are being bullied on social media by
but
kids.
you can just block them.
But they can post that to all the other kids in the school. Like you've seen things with kids having like naked pictures that have been posted on someone's social media page that they didn't like. There was just 2 young girls that just killed themselves because of bullying and cyberbullying. They were like 8 and 11. So
it's possible.
Yeah. So, but I get your point. But yeah, I think there's a lot of complication that goes with that we didn't really experience.
No naked pictures of me.
Nobody was bullying me
then.
on AOL Instant Messenger, RIP.
Yeah. So, that's pretty much my situation. I think the first time I met you was kind of like a bully situation, right?
I don't know. Were you bullying me?
No, I think you were trying to bully someone else and like, or not bully, but you were throwing wood chips at someone and like they didn't appreciate it. And they asked you to stop and you didn't stop. And then you kind of got dealt with.
Yeah. I think I may remember that. So.
Yeah, so like Dana White reaching out to this kid is really cool. Teach this kid how to defend himself because he probably might need it, especially if his parents are douchey white supremacists. So
Absolutely.
Yeah, bullying's not cool, and I certainly don't stand for it. And I could probably speak for Ray and say that he doesn't stand for it either. And that's pretty much all I got to say about that.
Agreed.
So yeah, it's an unfortunate situation here for young Keaton. I posted a Rise Above Hate photo on my Instagram in support of anti-bullying. Little did I know Mr. John Cena is currently in some hot water himself right now. Ray told me about this last week, and it made me laugh. Ford Motor Company is suing John Cena, Ray.
Yes, dude, it's fucking nuts, man. So basically, John Cena wanted this super exclusive Ford car that they build. It's called the Ford GT supercar. This thing is fucking crazy. Let me see the
2017 GT supercar.
The specs on this. They only make 1,000 of them. It has a 3.5 liter V6 engine that develops 647 horsepower. It looks pretty fucking cool.
Damn.
There's a whole application process, even for someone like John Cena, to get one of these things. So he got the car, and then he signed a contract basically that for 2 years he has to have this vehicle. He can't sell it. And he has to basically be,
handcuffed to the car.
Right. And, he's an ambassador for Ford by having this car.
So was he an ambassador beforehand, or is he like an ambassador now too?
So he actually previously owned a 2006 version of this vehicle as well. So, and when you say ambassador, I don't think that he's actually paid by Ford to be an ambassador for them. He's just by proxy of owning this car. And, obviously he's going to be, at some point on, some TV show or something where he's showing off this vehicle, or he's going to be driving around, in this vehicle.
Yeah.
He becomes an ambassador for Ford.
It's kind of like the language of the contract.
Right. Exactly. So, but yeah, obviously that didn't happen because he decided right away to flip the fucking car and make some fucking money. And Ford, he thought that Ford could not see him. And in fact, they could see him because he has 50 million unique social voices on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. So
over 460 grand for that fucking car too.
Yeah. He paid 463 grand. I don't think there's any word as to what he sold it for, but you got to figure that this is a highly sought after thing, because even just because you have money doesn't necessarily mean that you can own this vehicle.
That's true.
There's a very stringent process for this thing. There's only 1,000 of these things being made over the next few years.
It's like the net neutrality of cars.
Right.
Just because you have money doesn't mean you get to own anything.
Exactly. So, or you just pay a lot more money,
Oh yeah. If he didn't at least double his money here, I don't know why he would even try to.
I don't know what he was thinking. Apparently there's been no comment from Cena on it. Ford does say that when they dropped the lawsuit on him, he said, "I completely understand, and as stated, I'm willing to work with you and Ford to make it right. My sincerest apologies." Fucking John Cena, the nicest goddamn guy in the world. Like, Jesus Christ.
John Cena is so gangster. He flipped the car and was just like, yeah, I flipped it. I'm sorry.
He could probably actually physically flip it too, don't you think?
There's a good chance. I would put money. I wouldn't bet against him. That's for sure.
Yeah. So
at least he owned up to it, though. That was the thing for me. He owned up to it, and he just said, yeah, I did it. So what?
Yeah.
Or he didn't say it like that, but he's like, yeah, I did it.
In this political climate, that's actually probably so to this kind of off of this topic, but sort of transitioning into that. Did you hear about Morgan Spurlock?
Oh, I've heard about a lot of guys now with this whole sexual thing going on.
So, all right. So Morgan Spurlock, do you know who that is?
Oh, the Super Size Me guy.
Right.
Yeah, Tavis Smiley too, actually from BET's.
But did you hear the interesting thing about the Morgan Spurlock thing?
I didn't read. I just saw the headline. Kept scrolling.
All right, so
because I kind of like the guy.
So
I enjoyed that movie.
What he did is no one has actually accused him at this point, but he just came out ahead of the game and just admitted that he is part of the problem. He said, as I sit around watching hero after hero, man after man, fall at the realization of their past indiscretions. I don't sit by and wonder who will be next, which was linked to a verified Twitter account. I wonder when will they come for me? So, so he just.
You think he's just doing it for publicity?
No. So basically his strategy in this was, fuck, they're coming for me. Like every new one, he was getting all fucking clammy and sweaty, like when he wanted fucking more fucking chicken nuggets from McDonald's. And so he fucking ahead of the game said, yeah, I did it. Let's see. I didn't, wow. He actually says, he talks about, he said, that two had gone back to his room after a night of drinking. In his account, he said they started having sex, although she pushed him off while fooling around. Said she did not want to. She started to cry. I didn't know what to do. We stopped having sex and I rolled beside her. I tried to comfort her to make her feel better. I thought I was doing okay. I believed she was feeling better. She believed she was raped. That's why I'm part of the problem. And once again, like, I thought that things were going really good, and then I sort of started to rape her, and then she didn't like it. And she was like crying a little bit. And
he thought he was Big Mac, and
so then I comforted her for the like.
He only had nothing but a little chicken tender.
Oh my god! Fuck!
You can't, dude. You can't start fucking a girl, and then when she starts crying, is like, oh yeah, damn, that's not a good idea. It's probably a good idea to make sure she's cool with it first.
Yes.
God damn.
I mean,
Morgan
at this
Spurlock.
point, you might want to get like a signed fucking consent form.
Well,
notarized and everything.
It's getting crazy now, especially if you're rich and famous, because like you could bring a girl home, have a good time, and then end up in the newspaper the next day. It's just crazy.
Yeah, it's fucking nuts.
Newspaper, what the fuck is that?
Fucking newspapers.
You end up on the
how do
internet.
they work?
Yeah.
It's fucking crazy.
We're gonna be going back to newspapers after net neutrality kicks in.
Oh my god.
Get your stock in newspapers.
Last Christmas, I gave you my heart, but the very next day, you gave it away. This year, to save me from tears, I'll give it to someone special.
Ah!
Oh god.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Am I at work? Oh no, I'm on the podcast. I'm on the podcast. Thought I was at work. Oh fuck. I have PTSD actually after 15 years of having to hear Christmas music at work for a month straight, and hearing that song by Wham probably every single fucking hour. I can't imagine the amount of hours that I've had to hear that song. There is actually 311 million views on that video on YouTube, and I would be
Jeez.
willing to bet that if they were counting the times that I heard it at work, I would probably be at least 500,000 of those.
Holy crap.
So-
That song sucks.
Yeah. Oh boy. So,
You know what year that song came out? 80 something?
1984, I think.
Wow.
It came out.
Mid 80s.
Yeah, that was when he was in Wham. He wasn't a solo artist yet. So.
We're going to have to get you some ketamine and some MDMA for your
Oh my god,
your
my
Christmas
I don't even have
affliction.
I don't even have post traumatic stress. I have like CTSD,
current.
current traumatic stress disorder. It's when you're I think people got the joke. I didn't have to explain it any further.
Yeah, that's crazy. Or Christmas dramatic stress disorder.
Yes. Oh, there you go. Yes, I have Christmas music.
Stress
Traumatic
disorder.
stress disorder caused by Christmas music. And now science is catching up and saying, guess what? Christmas music gives you the fucking blues. So-
Craziness. Well, there's a psychologist now. Her name just happens to be Linda Blair.
oh my God. This is
Fake news.
This is where I wish I had a clip queued up of Linda Blair in The Exorcist vomiting
All over
everywhere.
Santa Claus.
Maybe we'll give this a second here. Let's give it. Okay, we're back. That's where the vomiting or the something about a dirty cunt or something is going to be inserted.
So yeah, according to Linda Blair, listening to Santa Claus is Coming to Town on repeat could actually have a negative effect on your brain. People working in the shops at Christmas have to tune out Christmas music because if they don't, it stops you from being able to focus on anything else.
Trust me, people fucking hate it.
Yeah, of all the songs, probably not my favorite. Santa Claus is Coming to Town, but it's not terrible. I guess. Well, I guess if I had to hear it 500,000 times over
it's
my
not
life,
Last Christmas.
yeah. But they're saying you're simply spending all of your energy trying not to hear what you're hearing. And the reason that the stores are doing it is because the research shows that striking a good balance between festive smells and music can positively affect the shopping environment, making customers happier.
You know what? And that's the thing in general, though, like the Christmas music thing, like working in a retail environment for such a long time. I mean, I know a lot about music, and, you know, they basically sit people down for studies and they play music for them, and they, you know, gauge, does this make you want to shop more? Does it make you want to shop less? And they talk about that here, where, you know, slower songs actually make people want to spend more time in a store, while a more fast-paced song makes them want to leave more quickly. So maybe we'll just have more fast-paced Christmas music.
If they play some "Feeling on Your Booty" by R. Kelly in a store, I'm just hanging out all day.
Oh man, Eddie is gonna.
That's about as slow tempo as you could get.
Eddie's gonna pee on some chicks inside of whatever store that is.
But you gotta go. You gotta go.
Oh man, from what I heard, Roy Moore likes to do some R. Kelly shit too, but that's neither here nor there. But yeah, it's definitely it's shitty, and I hate hearing Christmas music all the time.
Santa Claus is coming to town.
Last Christmas, I gave you my heart.
Oh no, not again.
Yeah, so I do miss at my last job I had more control over the music, and I was able to put on whatever I wanted, so I didn't play any Christmas music, and now I'm forced to hear Christmas music again.
Oh, why'd you ever leave? That's like the golden ticket.
I hated
right
my job, but
I know, but
damn,
yeah, that's some freedom right there.
Yeah,
you can't.
Freedom.
That's like creative control in your contract.
What you take? Oh, sorry, I'm on a George Michael kick now.
That's like the Goldberg clause, man.
Oh, by the way, George Michael was in Wham. I don't know if you knew that. But.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Okay, so
from the UK, right?
Yeah, and you know, sadly passed away too.
Yeah,
R.I.P. George Michael.
It's crazy. The older we get, the more they, start to fall off.
I know. So, anyway.
So you ready for Christmas, Ray, or what? Got all your shopping done? I mean, we're getting down to about 10 days here.
I have ordered a vast majority of the Christmas presents that I plan on, and I don't think I've really bought any of them in a physical store. They've all been bought from.
So you didn't have to. You've heard enough Christmas music as it is.
Right. You know what? When I'm not working, the last thing I want to do is go into a fucking store unless it's something I really need at that moment.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've done most of it. I still have a few people on my list that I do need to get some stuff for. I'm keeping it kind of chill this year. Luckily, I have a smaller family, and so I don't have to really buy a lot of them stuff. So I normally buy a lot of stuff for my friends, my girlfriend, and some people that I work with and such. I haven't wrapped not a goddamn thing yet, so I definitely need to get on that. I hate that day.
I don't wrap.
I got a couple really large items, too, that are going to suck like fucking hell to have to wrap. So.
You're lucky if I get you something, it doesn't hit you in the face when I throw it at you.
Yeah. You can always go with the bags. Is always like the lazy way. You get the bags,
like paper bags.
No, not a fucking grocery store bag. No, well, yeah, they are the paper bags. You know, the Christmassy ones or whatever. Or if it's clothes, you get the little Christmas box or whatever.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
So there's ways around it, but there are certain things that you just have no choice. You're gonna have to wrap it. So
yeah, it was pretty cool. I actually got everything set up at my grandparents' house. Was able to get them something nice this year. A couple big screen TVs, if you will. Not the biggest TVs ever, but, big enough for them, certainly. So they're very appreciative of it.
How dare you? Were they 4K?
I don't think so.
Oh, man. Come on, dude.
I don't think they know the difference, though.
What did you get them? You got them fucking 720, dude? What was it, LCD? Come on.
No, I think they were
plasma?
I think they were RCA or some shit.
I don't know. Tube TV? Fucking tube TV? Get the fuck out of here.
The Trinitron.
What? You got a fucking old school one inside of a fucking wooden box?
No, I refuse to buy any TV I can't lift up by myself anymore.
Oh my God.
Remember those backbreaker TVs?
Dude, remember, I don't know if you were a part of this, but when I lived upstairs in the one house and we had the big screen tube TV that my dad had gotten from Rent-A-Center.
I do remember
my
that
dad
TV.
My dad doesn't listen to the podcast, so he doesn't listen to Eddie's wise words about investing in himself. And so he goes to Rent-A-Center. But anyway, yeah, we had the large big screen TV, the tube one, and we had to try to get it downstairs. And man, talk about a fucking bitch to try to get that thing down and not fuck it up. And it got fucked up. And then we didn't have anywhere to take it, so I had to put a tarp over it.
Oh, man.
I don't even know what ended. I think we ended up bringing it down into the basement, and then it
just stayed there.
It just got left there.
Well, that TV was way too heavy.
That was a
Way too heavy.
fucking. That was made out of like fucking 3/4 inch, like probably treated plywood.
Dude, oh yeah.
That was fucking ridiculous.
There's no way.
Yeah.
There was only one direction that TV was going, and that was downstairs.
Yes. Because you could drop it.
Yep.
I'll tell you what, man. So like back in the day, I worked at Walmart, and I got to be the person that brought all this stuff up into the layaway area. And the layaway area at this particular store did not have a belt system of any sort. It just had a bunch of fucking stairs. So I'm going to tell you what, dude. You got someone that's buying like a fucking like, I don't know what a big TV at that point was, like maybe a 35-inch TV or something like that.
Mhm.
They're buying a 35-inch tube TV, and like they're probably never going to pick that shit up anyway. And I got to get it upstairs. Like, I'm rolling it up the stairs. And if this was the best, there would be the days where I would have to remove all of the items that people had not picked up. And a lot of times it was really heavy fucking TVs like that. I'm going to tell you what, there were quite a few TVs that fucking rolled straight down that goddamn set of stairs. It was probably at least 15 feet up. And I guarantee that those TVs got fucked the fuck up. Dude, and the best thing is too, if you've never seen a TV in a box roll down a flight of stairs, is that they're heavy on one side and then they have the styrofoam in there. So it's like a really weird, like it's like you can imagine in your head like the trajectory of it as it like rolls down, you know, because it's not evenly distributed.
Side and then just slide down the right.
Yeah, it would still at times flip again and roll again. It
like a really awkward motion flipping.
Right. It was very awkward, and it was probably more awkward for the people that eventually try to buy that TV that was just shattered into a million fucking pieces.
Oh, yeah.
But don't try to put me in charge of bringing layaway shit upstairs and downstairs, or give me a fucking conveyor belt, you son of a bitch.
That was one thing I was nervous about, getting the TVs in the mail, but Walmart.com, man, great job. Got the TVs quick.
Luckily, I don't work there anymore.
Yeah, thank God Ray didn't touch my TVs.
Well, TVs are not as heavy now, so that was the
Still,
problem.
I don't trust you.
Dude, let me tell you the idiocy. I once had a guy that I had to load shit up for people too. And I had a guy that bought one of those big ass TVs. It was probably a 35-inch tube TV. This shit was fucking heavy. This motherfucker pulls up in a fucking soft top convertible. And he asks me to set it on the top of the soft top convertible. I looked at this man with the most disdain and fucking just oh my
First of all, I'm not even trying to lift it that high.
My eyes rolled out of my fucking head. They rolled onto the ground. I had to go pick them up. I put them back into my skull. And then I was like, I cannot do that for you.
Yeah.
I'm not doing it. That's where I draw the fucking line. I'm sorry. So, yeah.
Thank God those days are over with, man.
Yes. So, anyway.
Craziness. Well, time for a little break action. But first, a little social media.
Hit them.
Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, Jerk of All Trades Podcast. Can't miss us out there. Patreon.com/JOAT Podcast if you're interested in donating to the Jerks.
And I do want to mention that Patreon had announced that they were going to be making some changes, that they were going to be charging a larger percentage, and people were up in arms. They were not happy, and Patreon decided not to do it.
Yeah, you got to
So-
be careful when you're, these companies, when
Right.
you try to make changes like that. You got to be more sneaky
You
about
need
it.
to go to the FCC.
Yeah, you gotta be a little more sneaky
Call,
about that. or
a
else
G and
Ray the Jerk will send you a scathing email, and you will not be happy about it.
skeet.
JOATpodcast.com for anything and everything Jerk of All Trades podcast. Check out the website. It's fucking awesome. I love it. So, one last thing here, subscribe if you haven't already to the podcast on iTunes and Stitcher and SoundCloud and Google Play.
Tune in and Overcast.
Yeah, Google Plus and anywhere and everywhere you get your podcast at. And hit us up, JerkOfAllTradesPodcast at gmail.com.
All right, let's go to break.
Break.
Hey, what's up, guys? Ray the Jerk from the Jerk of All Trades podcast with an offer just for you, the listener of the Jerk of All Trades podcast. Audible is offering a free audiobook download with a free 30-day trial to give you an opportunity to check out their sensational service. I've got a recommendation for you once you get your trial all set up, and that is Robert Anton Wilson's Cosmic Trigger, Volume 1, The Final Secret of the Illuminati. Trust me when I say you'll be declaring yourself a pope in no time flat. To download your free audiobook today, go to audibletrial.com/JOAT podcast. Once again, that's audibletrial.com/JOAT podcast to get your free audiobook courtesy of the Jerks.
All right, guys, we are back. And you know, we were just talking about the effect Christmas music can have on us. Well, now studies are showing smartphone addiction is also wreaking havoc on our brain chemistry. Ray, let's talk about smartphone addiction creating chemical imbalances in human brains.
Yeah, it's crazy. So, I mean, this is something, and there's actually like studies now on this, but I mean, this is something that's, just been apparent for a long time. You get a dopamine rush, you get serotonin in your brain, when you're actively doing something. And so, you have a smartphone and you have all of the information that's out there at your fingertips at all times, at least until net neutrality is completely gone. Then you're fucked.
This story is irrelevant 1 year from now.
You'll be fine. But yeah, basically what they're saying is that 50% of the US population suffers from anxiety and fatigue when they're separated from their smartphone. And you know what? I'll tell you what, I will raise my hand and say, I am part of the problem.
Oh, for sure.
Like Morgan Spurlock, but not of rape.
I'll tell you what,
smartphone addiction.
When that fucking Instagram goes off and we get like 30, 40 likes in one day, well, when we used to get 30, 40 likes, I'm like, constantly checking like, oh shit.
I will find
look at the hearts.
I will find myself just pointlessly going on it just because, it's tough to just be there and, be passive and not be doing something. And especially when, you're getting that feeling when you're, constantly intaking all of that information. So I totally get it. They basically tested the brains of people and they saw like increased GABA in the brains of people that were utilizing smartphones. And yeah, I mean, it's literally addiction. Like I actually will do something. I will take my phone and I will like put it in another room. Like I will leave it in a different room just because I know that if it's around, I'm going to be pointlessly looking at it.
But then
there's no real reason for it.
You get criticized for not answering the phone then though. Because I used to do that a lot too. I'd have the phone in the other room, and then somebody will call me, and then they're like, "Oh, dude, I just called you." And I was like, the phone was upstairs. What do you want me to do?
Yeah, and you know what? I mean, come on. Sometimes maybe someone just doesn't want to talk, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, there's times where I can't talk either. Like if you're busy doing something.
Right. Exactly. So, yeah, it's all good. But yeah, there are other things that you can do to basically break yourself of your addiction to your smartphone. And one of the things that I think is really interesting is you can do cognitive behavioral therapy, which they utilize for a lot of different things, negative thought patterns and, PTSD and depression, anxiety. And, you're developing some of those things from your cellular telephone device. And so you can utilize that and you can find that self-control through CBT. And then the other thing that I think is really, really interesting
this might be the funniest thing.
The substitute phone.
Quote unquote substitute phone.
Yeah. And I'm going to be honest with you. I actually looked at it and I was like, man, I might almost consider getting this fucking thing,
Well, it depends on the price.
Right. Yeah. I'm going to check it out.
They're going to gouge you for $100. No, thank you.
This is not where.
But yeah, it's a palm-sized fake phone that can simulate a smartphone experience. It looks just like an iPhone. It's got the screen and everything, but it has these like beads on it. These little, I think they're metal balls, I guess.
Yeah, they look like little metal balls.
And you can do the swiping action to simulate the swiping action, stuff like
up,
that.
Up, down, diagonally. I'm not sure how that works, but yeah. I don't know how much this thing costs, and I still can't find out exactly what it costs. Thought that this might.
This is going to be the new fidget spinner.
Yeah.
The new fidget spinner is going to be the substitute phone.
It is funny though, because you've got muscle memory and because you're doing something so often, and then when you don't have that in that space, what do you do?
Well, couldn't you just take the battery out of your phone and do the same thing? Like the exact same thing?
Yeah, but the problem is that is the physical object that you're actually addicted to. So how many people are actually going to do that? How many people are actually going to take their phone off?
True. Very true.
So, I mean, that kind of, and I mean, in the end, that doesn't actually, nor does this actually like cure the problem either. Yeah, you're not intaking that information in your brain, but you're still doing this repetitive action over and over again. Though I do feel like the visual and the audio stimuli is certainly, causing a lot of the problem as well. So, yeah, I think it's pretty interesting, and it's pretty obvious.
It's a real issue. I know people in my family that stare at their fucking phones probably every waking minute of the goddamn day.
Yeah.
So this is a very real thing, and it's just crazy. It's because there's so much information and media and data out there to be consumed.
Yeah. And I will say that, so I've always been, I utilize my phone for a lot of things. And I've considered like, man, I kind of don't want to have a smartphone, but at this point it's just, I do too many things that would be too difficult without having a smartphone.
You need it now with the podcast.
Right. So it's all about, utilizing it in the best way possible. So, I'll find that I do a bad job when I'm like at home and it's just myself and my girlfriend, and we're just sitting down to watch something, and I'll like pointlessly
watching Baywatch.
We're trying to watch, an episode of Baywatch where, Mitch is battling against a giant electric eel or some shit. And, I'm just staring at my phone. So, and I just sometimes have to just like, what am I doing? Why am I looking at this? I just think inside of my head, and then I take and just like, take the phone and put it away and flip it upside down. But I'm pretty good when I'm in a social situation with, other people, with friends and stuff. Like if I go to someone's house or something like that, I'm not going to sit and stare at my phone all the time. I'm going to interact with the people that I'm around.
Dude. I have a story for you. I was completely ashamed of myself. Halloween party last year at one of my buddy's house at his garage. Huge Halloween party. I think it was game 4 or game 5 of the World Series with the Chicago Cubs playing. I probably checked my phone 150 times that night. I could not stop checking the score of that game. And because the Cubs were losing, I had an awful time at the party. Just completely awful. Bad mood, not happy. Checking my phone all the time, and it was just
right.
The phone ruined it for me. I could have had a great night had I just like left the phone in the car or like anything but look at my phone. I probably would have had a good time, but I let the phone ruin my night, and I was just checking it incessantly. But couldn't help it.
Were you also a sexy vampire that year?
I believe I was actually.
That's like me growing up when like I got a Crypt Keeper mask from Tales from the Crypt, when I was like 10 or something. And like I only got the mask. I didn't have anything else. So like every year I would just go as the Crypt Keeper, like wearing like sweats.
And you got mad candy,
for like
right?
3 or 4 years.
They still gave that candy.
Yeah, they did. So I actually did find another story that's kind of tied into this as well. It's kind of the same thing about how your tech is kind of depressing you. I'll kind of read a little bit from it here. This is the doctor, Dr. Stephen Ilardi. He's a professor of clinical psychology at University of Kansas.
Dr. Stephen Lombardi?
Ilardi.
No.
Ilardi.
You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yes, of course. Yes. I live in Wisconsin, even though I don't like sports at all. Of course I know who that is.
You're not from Brooklyn, though.
Steve Lombardi? Steve Lombardi. Oh, that's the... Oh, okay.
That's the Brooklyn Brawler.
Oh, Steve Lombardi. Oh, who am I thinking of?
You're thinking of Vince Lombardi.
Vince Lombardi. Oh, yes. Okay. No relation. Or possibly.
Yeah, same last name. Yeah. Sorry about that.
Oh, you're fine.
I thought you would have got that right away.
Yeah, I was lost in the computer screen, so not my phone though, but
no.
But yeah, so Ilardi writes that there are 3 in 10 Americans will battle depressive illness during their lives, an estimated 10-fold increase since World War II. I think that there's, another problem with that though, that's kind of skewed is I think that, people dealt with that in a different way at that time because, even now, mental illness is definitely got a stigma to it. And I'm sure it had an even greater stigma back then. And at that point, they basically would, give you fucking shock therapy or something, or
I was going to say, a lot of people are probably misdiagnosed.
chain you up to a radiator. That still happens, though. But anyway, he says technology lulls us into inactivity, whereas even modest physical activity, taking over vacuuming chores from the Roomba, fuck the Roomba, for example, stimulates the brain to release dopamine and serotonin. He notes that automation should create free time during which we can engage in physical activity, perhaps even outdoors. More pleasant than vacuuming, but we don't tend to take advantage of the possibilities. We are wired like our ancestors to conserve energy whenever possible, to be lazy when no exertion is required. So, I mean, that's a problem.
What year was this?
This is like now.
Oh, I thought this was like an old
No, this
guy.
this article is from last month.
He's right. He's right, though.
Yeah, so I mean, it's wired into our brains when we don't have to be physical. You want to get physical, but you don't want to get physical, so you don't. You just sit and you look at your fucking phone or whatever, and that's a problem. And then that makes you more depressed. So you don't get outdoors, you don't get vitamin D, and
Cardiovascular.
Yeah. So he offers some suggestions as well for people to, hopefully, combat their addiction to their cellular telephone device.
And that's to bring it outside.
Bring it on outside.
Bring it outside.
No, if you can't get outdoors, get a light box that mimics the sun's 10,000 lux broad spectrum light. Do some exercise, even if only walking 30 minutes 3 times a week. Technology can help with this. You can get an app that turns your phone into a personal trainer, or you could just do it. And power down correctly. This is a huge thing. Set your thermostat down 5 degrees an hour before bedtime and enable the night shift function on your devices to shift the color spectrum away from blue. That's huge. The blue light that's emitted from your cell phone really, really messes with your brain, and you can't get into the right levels of sleep that you need to get, fully rested sleep. We can't get into those deep layers of sleep. So
I can think of an example where this guy's completely wrong, though. They at the gym I used to go to, they used to have TVs on the treadmills and the ellipticals and stuff. And I would work out like a motherfucker while watching some fucking Tour de France and shit. Like they would have these like sports events on the TVs. Like there's a built-in TV on the fucking machine. Everybody had their own little TV and you could change channels and stuff. And I would just stay on that machine for like the duration of the fucking game. Or if like there's like a basketball game on or whatever, I would just watch the game while at the gym while exercising at the same time.
Oh yeah, I think that
It's fucking brilliant.
I think that he's actually saying that too. He's saying that you can utilize your phone, like ways that you can integrate that technology into being more active. I would almost argue though that what you were doing there is distracting yourself from being in the moment, and it's all kind of playing into what we as humans have, continue to do more and more is distract ourselves from, the reality from the moment that we're in.
I didn't have cable, so the only way for me to see the game was to go to the gym.
So anyway, this is a different story. But yeah, he's just talking about different ways that you could, he's not saying that tech is going, it actually says at the end, he acknowledges personal tech is here to stay. His suggestions can help make the most out of it. So he's just, it's like, with the TV there, when TV first came around and people sit in front of a TV, but what if you did some sort of activity while you were doing it? Then,
Fidget spinning.
Yeah. There you go.
Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah. So interesting stuff right there. But if you're depressed from our last 2 stories, we may have just found a way for you to find balance again in your life. And it is without the use of drugs. So
I love this story, Rick.
Yes, the hallucination machine. Very, very interesting stuff. So there's actually a video here. You want to hear a little bit about what this guy has to say about this?
Play that motherfucker.
All right. Let's get our volume right. All right, let's hear what he has to say.
Ours was a phase 2 trial. We recruited 29 individuals, mostly from the NYU Clinical Cancer Center. At first, the trial was for people that had terminal illness, terminal cancer, but we soon realized you could have psychological distress at any stage of cancer. You didn't have to be terminal, including being in remission. Patients could still have enormous distress. So we broadened the criteria over time to include people that could have any stage of cancer as long as they had a considerable and clinically significant amount of anxiety or depression. So we recruited 29 individuals. Each participant got randomized either to get 1 dose of psilocybin or 1 dose of the control niacin. It was a 9-month duration trial. And this was not a pure pharmacologic study. Our model was medication-assisted psychotherapy. So there was a lot of the drug being embedded within psychotherapy. There was preparatory psychotherapy where we reviewed their life in its entirety and all of the good things and bad things that had happened, and relationships, etc. We then reviewed the narrative of cancer, and in particular focused on how cancer had become so distressing. There's a very significant percentage of cancer patients that when they get the diagnosis have a really bad reaction. They can become completely demoralized, they have existential distress, it's a kind of spiritual crisis, they become depressed and anxious, they have a hastened desire to want to be dead. Really sort of pathologic construct.
Jeez.
These
That's
are the
sad,
patients
ain't
we're
it?
looking to help.
Do they talk
So,
about the hallucination
the
machine here?
preparatory
I'm gonna
psychotherapy-
skip forward. We'll definitely put this video. I don't think they really talk about this in this, but we'll put this video on the website so you can check this out. This is very interesting stuff, but not quite what we were actually going to talk about here, which
It
is
sounded like they were doing a comparison test, but yeah, this is definitely slightly different. I think.
yes, this is the hallucination machine. So this is created by researchers at Sussex University Secular Center for Consciousness Science. Try to say that 3 times fast.
Oh man.
It's in England, jolly old England, and they made a virtual reality experience they called the hallucination machine. This is actually really interesting. I actually have a book that's called Get High Now Without the Use of Drugs, or I think Without Drugs it's called, and it's got, everything from like what's called prisoner's cinema, where you would take your hands and just like press them over your eyes really hard, and then you can basically, kind of create the visual kind of psychedelic
I used to do that when I was a
experience.
kid. Like when I was in first grade, I used to press my eyes
Yeah,
real hard and
you
see
wanna-
like visions.
Yep, there you go. You wanted to trip even at that point. So, but yeah. Anyway, what they're doing is they're using reality headsets, and then they're using Google Deep Dream, which I can tell you, Google Deep Dream definitely. There's a lot of dogs and a lot of cats in it. But the actual, like, what it does to the field of spectrum, what you would see and the way that you interact with things, I think it does a really good job of recreating the LSD experience. I think it definitely has that type of feeling. But that's, kind of what they're doing with this thing. So the hallucination machine. So how does it actually create the visuals? Do they talk about that? I don't think they actually do.
I don't think they went into the nuts and bolts of it, but it's supposed to simulate the psilocybin. And I was wondering if people can get addicted to this machine because obviously you're going in there, you're having a good time with the visuals and stuff similar to the drug. Like, is it like the smartphone? You're going to have the hallucination machine addiction similar to your smartphone addiction?
I mean, it's possible. I think in the end, it's like, quit trying to make VR a thing. It's not going to be a thing.
Well, how could you get addicted if it's not a drug, though?
Yeah.
But the
phone I mean, you can't, right.
Either.
You can't be, right. You can have that, that thing going on in your brain, but this is the difference is like, habit versus addiction, like physical addiction where your body is actually physically addicted to a substance.
Yeah.
Right. There's no denying that, despite how many idiots on the internet that I read on every time I see my city. I know it's happening all across the US, but there's a lot of people dying in my city from opiate use, and people are shitting all over the use of Narcan for these people. And people are talking about how addiction is a choice and blah, 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 blah. And I have no fucking clue what I'm talking about because I'm lived in an insular fucking Republican fucking world. But anyways, physical addiction versus a habit, habit forming. This could be habit forming. It could become a part of the normal things that you do and that you really like it. But I don't think you can actually become physically addicted to this thing.
What would Bill O'Reilly think about this machine?
I want to do it live. I want to do the hallucination machine live. I don't know. He would fucking hate it. He would absolutely hate it.
But why? It's not a drug.
Right. But it's a gateway. It's a gateway machine.
He would say that.
It leads people. Then people would be like, what if I actually take these drugs? So.
Yeah, you could use the machine to get off the drugs.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think this just proves again, though, that the human brain can go into interesting different places. This is not the first time. There's actually a guy who created something called the God Helmet back in the 80s to do something very similar to this. But I think the big thing with this and what this misses is I believe I heard it described as the destination is not the map, you know? And that's what this seems to be. This is the visual portion of psychedelics to me, while the initial thing that when you first start doing psychedelics, that especially at a younger age, just seems really cool because you are so used to seeing and interacting with the world around you in a particular way, and then it gets flipped on its fucking head, and all of a sudden you're, interacting and seeing things very differently. On a different level. And so that seems really cool, and it is cool. But I find that when I trip these days, I actually have it be an internalized experience. So I actually spend a lot of time. Allegedly. I like to be in a dark room, and I like to close my eyes, and I like to go inside of my own brain, and I like to work through shit. And yeah, it's cool to see things melting or things look weird, or, I can look down and see, the molecular breakdown in front of me of the things that make up everything around me. That's great, but I would rather get a different experience out of it. And this doesn't seem to be able to replicate this. They talk about the time thing. That's another big thing with psychedelics, is that time really ceases to be, and like hours can happen in the span of moments. And that is really missed in this. So I think it's cool, and it gives people, an initial feeling of what psychedelics can do. But I think that in the end,
It's not even close.
these people actually doing psychedelics, would be much more beneficial. But depending on how much this thing is, I would probably buy it because it seems pretty fucking cool for when I can allegedly do psychedelics.
There you go. Yeah, and if
So-
you get a job randomly drug testing you every couple months.
Well, the
yeah.
positive thing is that pretty much no psychedelics ever show up on drug tests. So,
Oh, nice. Well, for now, hopefully it never changes.
oh my God, yeah.
You never know, man. Well, with
If
the
there-
FCC, whoever thought 10 years ago, people would say, "Oh yeah, they're going to clamp down on the internet."
If there's going to be anyone that's going to do it, and if there's going to be any state that's going to do it, it's going to be Wisconsin, because motherfucking Scott Walker keeps wanting me to piss into a fucking cup, and I'm not going to do it. I don't want to piss in your fucking cup. He just finally fucking enacted. He got his fucking bullshit thing now where anyone on welfare now is going to have to piss into a cup.
Oh,
if
that
they
went
want.
through?
That went through.
Oh my
Fuck
God.
him. He's a piece of shit. It's a war on the poor, and it has been proven in multiple states to not work. It's a waste of money. It finds so few people, and I guess this is, I always talk about the kids. In this one, I guess it is able-bodied people without children that would be removed from welfare. But still, fuck you. Quit trying to tell us what we can and cannot put into our bodies, and quit trying to make me pee in a cup or a bowl or a fucking glass or anything else. I don't want to pee in anything but my own toilet at my own house at my own discretion.
You pee in that guy's mouth, maybe.
I'm not Roy Moore.
Man, fucking politics, man. It's a grimy game.
Yeah.
But hopefully one day the hallucination machine will be a useful tool in treating people with neurological medical issues. But for now, we'll just have to carry on with a pill that can reverse type 2 diabetes.
Carry on my wayward diabetes son.
Craziness. This hits home for you a little bit here because I think we probably talked about it before with your dad having diabetes.
Yeah, my both my parents have diabetes.
Yeah, so this is really cool if it works. Right now they're just doing it on mice. This was a mice test that was successful, but the number of people with diabetes has been on the rise since 1980, with 422 million people diagnosed by 2014. The U.S. alone has experienced a substantial rise in the incidence of diabetes, with the number of Americans diagnosed increasing from 5.5 million in 1980 to 22 million in 2014.
What were the numbers on the depression increase to?
I want to know like 1960s and like 1970s. Like where did this spike? Because even for 1980, 5.5 million is a good number. Like that's a pretty high number. But A team of researchers led by Stephanie Stanford at the University of California, San Diego, is proposing a solution in the form of a single pill that aims to restore insulin sensitivity in diabetic patients. Type 2 diabetes develops when the body's response to insulin, the hormone responsible for regulating sugar in our blood, weakens. A number of genetic and lifestyle factors will influence whether or not someone develops this type of diabetes in their lifetime. The drug inhibits an enzyme called low molecular weight protein tyrosine phosphatase. I love these chemical names that we have to read on the podcast all the time.
Tyrosine phosphatase.
Maybe, I don't know.
Phosphatase.
Which is suspected to contribute to the reduction in cell sensitivity.
I would
to
have used that
insulin.
acronym.
Yeah, this is fucking crazy. Long story short, they're using this pill on mice that is fucking reversing type 2 diabetes. The researchers fed lab mice a high-fat diet that made them obese, which subsequently caused them to develop high blood glucose levels. The drug was given to the mice on a daily basis and successfully restored insulin sensitivity without producing any adverse side effects.
So the bullshit thing is they just gave him glucose. Like they could have like at least like let him eat like chips and
McDonald's.
you know, fucking Big Macs and fucking Whoppers and shit. But instead they fucking made him just eat glucose.
Well, you know, it's a step in the right direction for sure.
For mice to get obese?
No!
Oh, what's your fucking problem with mice, dude? They're too fit for your liking?
I only support one person in my household, and that's me. There ain't nobody eating for free in my goddamn house.
Oh, man. What about when they get those super strong muscles and shit? Did they try that on them too?
I think so, yeah.
They always try all this shit on mice.
But
Leave
yeah,
the mice alone.
this thing is still years away from being tested on humans, but University of Stanford is confident that it will work. So a lot of smart guys out there at Stanford University, and you know, this is good news for people, the human race, obviously. Definitely,
Especially here in the U.S.
Oh, especially here in the U.S. for sure. Isn't like this one do shit for Japan because like they have a high fish intake or consumption for food, and aren't they like the lowest of all the nations for diabetes or something? I think I saw this on a documentary.
I would believe it.
But sushi is like one of the healthiest things that you can fucking eat. But yeah, United States, gotta get your shit together, man.
Yeah.
What was it? 44 million? No, 22 million in 2014.
We can do it. We can make it to 42 million.
So yeah, way too many people. It's tough because I think we talked about this already on the podcast. You probably already heard us say this, but the cost of eating, you know, a $1 menu at a fast food joint is just so much cheaper than having to buy all the healthy food at the grocery store. And plus it's like convenience and, you know, the time that it takes to go grocery shopping.
Yes.
You could have gotten your $1 menu, gone home, eaten the whole thing and put on your, you know, Netflix and chill or, you know, whatever you got going on. and you wouldn't even have made it out of the grocery store in that time. So, you know, it's just, changing habits and, you know, hopefully getting a pill that reverses course now.
Right. Americans love their pills too. So,
dude, if I can get a pill even if I didn't even have diabetes, I would probably apply for one of these just in case, you know, I want to be ahead of the curve.
Just give me like a few bottles of it.
I don't even want it to start. Just give it to me now so I can just not even have to deal with it later.
There you go. There you go. So yeah, definitely some cool stuff coming out of the scientific community right there in Stanford. So we're hitting home stretch and we wanted to bring something new to the podcast. So without further ado, it's the final countdown. The crowd goes wild.
The final countdown. Yes.
All right.
This week we have 15 crazy but true stories about the rock band Nirvana.
Yes, yes. And we don't know for sure that they're true. We are expecting, this is from ranker.com, so I'm going to believe that these are all true, and you should believe that too.
Yeah,
so
why not?
fuck it. Fuck it.
Unless one of the band members wants to dispute it, we can have them on the podcast and
Yes.
have them tell their side of the story, I suppose.
Dave Grohl, if you want to be on the podcast, you have an open invitation.
Absolutely.
So number one is Chris Novoselic, who is the bassist, in case you were unaware, smeared Crisco on his body to play Twister with the Smashing Pumpkins.
Oh, my.
So William Patrick Corrigan and his buddies in the Smashing Pumpkins, apparently they displayed their playful side when they teamed up with the Smashing Pumpkins for an MTV-sponsored game of Twister. So obviously got to be true. Kurt Cobain.
Looks like they got a photo of it here, too.
Yeah, I think there's video of it, too. It says video on YouTube.
Oh, nice.
Dave Grohl enthusiastically greased up Chris Novoselic before his turn on the game mat. Not seen in the video is Novoselic using the American flag to remove the grease. In this day and age,
my.
he would probably be lynched.
Was he only if he was kneeling during it? If he wasn't kneeling, it'd be
Right,
fine.
then he would be okay.
Yeah.
He's actually a politician now. I don't know if you knew that.
Oh, wow.
But the move didn't sit well with some onlookers, as he recalled. These jocks came up and were bad vibing me, gonna bully him, like, hey, don't do that with our American flag. So I ended up having some kind of bodyguard go with me to the club. So that's the first one. Eddie, you want to hit the next one?
Yeah, they almost had a run-in with wild alligators. Before Nirvana became one of the biggest bands in the country, they spent a lot of time touring in a van and usually couldn't afford hotel rooms, much food or gas. They enforced rules on themselves.
That was Eddie hitting his head against the
No,
microphone.
I had to adjust my my laptop here. They enforced rules for themselves to save money. That's a good idea. Eddie the Jerk would approve of that, Mr. Kurt Cobain.
Invest in yourself.
Like always, driving under 70 miles an hour and never using air conditioner.
Brilliant.
Not good. That's going to be hot, man. Sometimes the band would sleep in the van or camp outside. One time they accidentally slept on a median in the middle of a road. Crazy. Occasionally they would stay at the homes of the people they met while on tour. Kurt Cobain spoke of one unsettling incident on the road. But I remember one time in Texas. On our first tour, we slept at the edge of a lake where there were signs all over saying beware of alligators. Oh my goodness. I'm having
I think that was the universal call out.
Yeah, I'm
wasn't it?
having a bear attack flashback as we speak.
Wait until you get to the next sentence.
We all slept with baseball bats. Oh my god. This is so
Bringing
fake.
it back to the old school
Wait,
because
where
we're
am I?
old fools.
Ranker.com is definitely a fan of the podcast.
Yeah.
I'm telling you right now. Or we tried to sleep.
If I see something about Bigfoot, I know they're listening.
This should be while we tried to sleep, but
Yeah.
that's neither here nor there. In the middle of the night, we thought we saw one of, so we backed out. Wait, what?
I
Oh,
don't
he's
know.
talking about alligators. I see. I got. They slept with baseball bats because they thought the alligators were gonna come
Right.
bite their ass.
Right.
Basically,
And then they left.
thankfully they didn't get bit because that would have
Correct.
sucked.
Yeah, that definitely would not have worked out all well for any of them. So the next one up on the list, they got kicked out of the Nevermind release party for starting a food fight. Very fun picture of Kurt Cobain here with a banana peel on the top of his head. It says the release party for Nevermind erupted into a full-fledged food fight after Kurt Cobain started flinging dip at people. What kind of dip do you think it was?
Ranch.
I'm gonna go with French onion. French onion, probably. He, Chris Novoselic, and Dave Grohl were all asked to leave. We were laughing. Novoselic remembers, "Oh my God, we just got kicked out of our own record release party. Many of the party goers didn't notice. The guests of honor had left, but the festivities didn't end there. Nirvana ended up at a friend's loft, but the party died when Cobain shot off a fire extinguisher." Ooh, that is a really oddly created sentence considering the way that Kurt Cobain died. Everyone then moved somewhere else until Cobain stuck a Nelson Gold record plaque smeared in lipstick in a microwave. I'm really shocked that how big was that fucking microwave?
I don't know.
He put on one of the host's dresses and everyone passed out. The next morning, Cobain decided to purchase a rump roast, shoot at it, and then eat it.
Interesting. On to the next one. Dave Grohl taught Kurt Cobain how to give himself a tattoo. And it looks like we got a picture here of Nirvana with Kurt Cobain going deep
Yes.
in the nostril area.
Got to get that bug out.
That's what I like about Nirvana, though. It's like they're not afraid to be themselves, or they weren't afraid, to be themselves or whatever. They weren't putting on a facade
Yeah.
Like, like I hate to say it, but a lot of rappers and stuff, they always put this big, bravado on and shit. Nirvana, you see what you get. You get
Yeah.
what you see.
I think that, yeah, I mean, that was kind of the end of like, punk rock being in the mainstream. I really do feel like, and I don't think this is just, me getting older, but I really do feel like the last like rebellious era of music on a mainstream level, at least, has seemingly died off. Like, I know that there's more music out there than there's ever been, and there's great music everywhere. But when you look at the mainstream output of music, nothing really seems to be like really, balls to the wall. Like nothing seems to be just really, what, Nirvana seemed to be. And I don't know that we're ever going to see that again in this current climate. So,
'Cause we got the biggest balls of them all. So, Kurt Cobain had a small tattoo on one arm, which he inked himself, an image of the K Records logo. I never knew that.
Yeah, I did not either.
Dave Grohl was nice enough to teach him how. You can do it with just a regular sewing needle, string, and some India ink. That sounds like it hurts, but okay. Wrap the thread around the needle, dip it in the ink, and jab it in.
There you go.
Wow. Unfortunately, Grohl's art skills didn't transfer so easily to Cobain, but when I did it, the thread unraveled, so I ended up jabbing in the needle and pouring ink all over my arm.
Ooh.
Ouch.
That's interesting too when they say that his art skills didn't transfer over, because actually Kurt Cobain was actually quite the artist. I remember distinctly being, I think I may have told the story before, but being, I was if you did not know, Nirvana was a band that really changed things for me. And, I turned into a dirtbag when I got my first Nirvana CD. I actually have a picture of that. And I would wear a Kurt Cobain or a Nirvana shirt every single day of the week to school with a flannel. And, I had one that had, some of his like claymation artwork on the back, and it had a little PP on it. And the teacher didn't like that. And I, thinking on my feet, said, well, it's art. And so then they actually said, you think it's art? Let's go to the art teacher and let's go see if the art teacher thinks it's art.
Well, at least you had a chance.
So I actually had to go to the art teacher and I had to show him the shirt, and he agreed and determined that it was art. And I was told that I could wear it for the rest of that day, but I could not wear it again though. So
bullshit.
Fight the power.
Man, these teachers always trying to ruin a good time. There's nothing wrong with whatever.
Yeah.
We're not going to get into that right now.
Yeah. All right. So next up, we got a bouncer attacked Nirvana's taxi after Kurt Cobain hit him with a guitar. So there's actually a video of this as well. I'm almost interested to see the video. You want to check the video out?
Is there a link I can click?
It's on the thing.
Oh, will it play if I click it?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. I'm playing it.
Oh, this is actually long. All right, let's.
I wonder if there's a way to.
Yeah.
Wait, where does the bouncer? Oh, wait. It looks like it's at 2 minutes. I'm starting over here. 2 minutes in.
Love Buzz off of Bleach.
No, he jumped in the crowd.
Oh,
Are you there yet?
yeah.
Okay. Uh-oh.
This is chaotic.
There's a struggle. Oh, no, there's the guitar.
Oh, yeah. Oh, he just, yeah.
He jammed him pretty good. Oh, he's going to get fucked up for that. Yeah.
Oh, he just, shit.
Sucker punch.
Ooh. That is fucking rowdy.
That was kind of douchey on Kurt Cobain's part, I think.
You know what's interesting too? Okay, so coming out of this, do you know who Josh Homme is?
No.
He's in a band called Queens of the Stone Age. He's the lead singer of Queens of the Stone Age. Have you heard of them before? They're pretty yeah, correct. They've become a very, very famous band. He was also the guitar player in one of my favorite bands ever called Caius. But anyway, he actually just recently was at a show, and there was a photographer there, and She was filming the show up in the front row, and he just straight up fucking kicked her camera into her face in one of his performances. And so that went viral, and now they are seeing fucking wrath. He had to come out. He first had a written apology about it. That didn't go over well enough. He had to have a video apology, which people also weren't buying as well. And now they're getting canceled. They were supposed to be in the Ellen show. They got canceled. They've gotten kicked off with some other stuff too. So it's interesting. Back in this day, obviously, you know, Kurt Cobain was doing something just as, if not douchier. And, you know, nobody cared. And it became one of the 15 facts of Nirvana. Whereas now it's like we live in this very interesting political climate where it's like everything is being filmed and seen immediately. And so you got to be on your best behavior. And that's one of the reasons I think, once again, that, you know, the modern rock star can't be like the rock star of old, because they're going to have to do some apologizing.
Yeah, it's a lot different. The climate's a lot different now.
Yeah. So, but the article says here, Nirvana, Nevermind had become a hit album. The band was getting booked in smaller venues that couldn't handle the amount of fans that suddenly wanted tickets. Kurt Cobain was beginning to feel pressure of stardom and was very moody and also probably addicted to heroin. On stage one night at an oversold venue, Cobain dove in the audience. He mistook the actions of a large bouncer trying to help him and hit the man over the head with his guitar hard enough to draw blood. The bouncer hit him back, as we saw, and Cobain fled and found a closet to hide in. Concert. I didn't even see that part. A concert promoter managed to convince Cobain the bouncer was gone, and the band finished the show. As they were leaving the venue, the band was waiting in a taxi when the bouncer reappeared and started smashing the car's windows. Not
Damn.
smashing pumpkins, smashing windows, much like Ray the Jerk would do. They escaped unharmed. They had a ride in the back seat covered in broken glass.
Jesus Christ. No heart-shaped box for that bouncer there.
No.
All right, so the next one is for your fun fact of Nirvana. Kurt Cobain set a club's couch on fire. So right before Smells Like Teen Spirit shot them into stardom in 1991.
You know the story behind the name of that, by the way?
Smells Like Teen Spirit?
Yeah.
Oh, it was like a high school thing or something?
So Teen Spirit was actually a girl's deodorant that existed in like the 1980s. Yeah. And so it was based off of that. Smells Like Teen Spirit.
Like Nirvana was getting that punani, like Teen Spirit punani, right?
I don't know. I don't know about all that.
I don't know.
I don't think that Courtney...
Well, they were a band in the 80s, weren't they? Early on?
Yes, but I have to use this joke now, which is I don't think that Courtney Love has ever seen any deodorant in her entire life.
Oh no. Is she still alive?
Yes, and she is looking rough. She's had some really terrible plastic surgery. But anyway, yeah, they were a band in the 80s. Actually, Bleach, their first full length, actually came out in the 1980s. Came out in 1989. Okay. And might be my favorite Nirvana album. I absolutely love it.
I don't think I've ever heard it, to be honest with you.
It's definitely a lot rougher. It's got more of a punk edge. Actually, funny, one of my buddies at work, he was having a bad day. He had posted on Facebook that he works unloading a truck, and he was unloading the truck, and apparently he spilled bleach all over himself, his shirt, in his pants, et cetera, et cetera. So I walked in the back later that night and I saw him and I asked him, "Hey, what's your favorite Nirvana CD?" And like, he was like, "Oh, it's probably not Nevermind." And then he was like, "I don't know, I guess probably Bleach." And then like, I laughed. And then like, only later did he come up to me and tell me that he actually hadn't even gotten the joke there. And like later he realized that I was making fun of him because he poured bleach on himself. So anyway.
Damn.
There it is. So, but yeah.
All right, back to the couch fire. Nirvana was playing a gig at Graffiti, a club in Pittsburgh. The concert promoter got into an argument with Chris Novoselic, his girlfriend, crew member, and claiming that she was cheating the club out of some money from T-shirt sales. See, T-shirt sales can get a little touchy.
That's where they make the money, man.
That's where that money comes flowing in. And we would know that because we're wearing T-shirts from some of our favorite wrestlers right now.
We are.
And so, meanwhile, the members of Nirvana were in a downstairs room while all this was going on, preparing to celebrate after the show. The situation grew so tense that Kurt Cobain lit a couch on fire to diffuse
some anger.
diffuse it all. It's like, hey, I got this, guys. I got this.
I know what we can do. Let's not have a physical fight. Let's light some things on fire.
That'll stop everything, right? Only a punk rock, or not punk rock, but only a rock guy would put two and two together, light a couch on fire.
They came out of the punk rock scene, so
yeah. But the diffuser started physical fight. No one was hurt, and the damage wasn't that bad. But Nirvana's road manager was arrested. So yeah, you light a couch on fire, somebody's probably going to jail.
Yeah. So next up, we got Chris Novoselic and Dave Grohl destroyed a hotel with none other than Kurt motherfucking Loder.
Ooh,
Kurt Loder. So
he was in a band.
Oh, Kurt Loder was
he was the MTV guy, right?
Yeah. This is in 1993. So this
so they were like getting interviewed.
Right. So
I thought maybe this was in the 80s.
No, they got interviewed by Nirvana in 93 at a Minnesota hotel, and afterwards Kurt Cobain decided to retire to his room. Dave Grohl and Chris Novoselic, on the other hand, ended up getting very drunk with Loder, as he recalled. At one point, Chris just took a picture off the wall and just broke it against the wall, and then started destroying everything in his room. And it's like 4 a.m, and we hear that hotel security is coming up. So I said, well, it's really time for me to leave. So I'm leaving, going to the elevator. They're behind me because they want to go down to my room. They don't want to get in trouble either. But Grohl and Novoselic weren't finished. They destroyed much of Loder's hotel room as well. Loder maintains that he wasn't nearly as intoxicated as the other two, and he only watched. Nevertheless, the bills were over $19,000.
Oh my. Well, they could afford it. 93.
Yeah.
93, they're raking it in.
Yeah, they were doing fine.
Cool. So the next one is they smashed a drum kit so the record label would buy them a new one. Genius, my friend.
Brilliant.
Genius. I love it.
Yeah.
Nirvana, not only are they lighting couches on fire, they're just smashing drum sets. So, to summarize all this, they could done some fucking crazy shit, right?
Right, yeah.
Hitting bouncers, lighting couches on fire.
I can't wait till the Justin Bieber 15
yeah,
the craziest things he did.
He probably already has 15.
Yeah.
But so Nirvana often destroyed their equipment on stage. Novoselic once joked to Jimmy Fallon that they did this so they wouldn't have to perform an encore. How lazy can you get? You don't want to do the encore, so they just broke everything. Actually, that's very genius too.
Yeah.
Before the band became famous and stopped playing smaller venues, they had to use whatever equipment they could get. At one point, Dave Grohl wanted a new drum kit since Kurt Cobain kept putting holes into it.
If you've seen Kurt Cobain perform
I can't
live,
read this without laughing.
he would. Have you seen him? He would just dive into the fucking drum set. He would just start take his guitar and just start stabbing at it.
Oh, this is so funny.
Yeah.
I miss my calling. I think I just should have just tried to be a rock star.
Yeah,
And just
there you go.
destroyed shit all the time.
Can't do it anymore though. It's over.
Dude, could you imagine Nirvana in the era of iPhones
I know.
and Twitter and all this shit, dude? It would be
Exactly.
fucking crazy.
No chance.
That or they probably fucking got arrested a lot more than they did. But finally, during a gig in Chicago, Grohl convinced his bandmates to help him completely demolish the drums after the show so that the record label would be forced to buy him a new one. In fact, they even told the audience they could stick around and watch after the show was over. Grohl eventually got his new drums, but had to wait a few days since the drum shop was closed the following day.
So
Grohl's story. Oh wait, no, that's a video. My bad.
So apparently he just had to air drum for the next few shows.
They just had to play they had to play the CD or
That's all
album
good.
before.
That's all good. All right. So next up, we got they once played nothing but covers for an audience of 12, not of 12-year-olds, but of 12 people. So after Bleach, but before Nevermind, Nirvana's tours consisted of gigs at small clubs with audiences that weren't necessarily there to see them. They were given the opportunity to replace another band, which they don't say who that is. I actually want to know who that is. Heavier Than Heaven, apparently. I don't know.
Your guess is as good as mine.
No, this is telling me what, I don't know. This is a page in a book, and I don't know what the fuck, whatever. Anyway, the Portland, Oregon gig, and drove down from Washington in a van. They did not park it down by the river. A young fan who had attended all their shows so far accompanied them. However, when they arrived at the club, they discovered the audience consisted of only 12 people, none of whom were there to see them. They took the stage anyway, but instead of playing a set list of their own songs, they sang covers decided by whatever their traveling companion wanted to hear. Aside from their one loyal fan, the crowd seemed to be unimpressed, but they did enjoy a cover of Kiss's Do You Love Me?
Do you love me? Do you love me? Do you love me?
I'm reminded of actually these past two stories play into. Have you ever seen the show Flight of the Conchords before, Eddie?
I think I've heard the song, but I don't think I've seen the show.
Oh man, it's great. It's great. It's about a rock, like a folk band from that was Eddie hitting his head.
That was me that time.
A folk band from New Zealand, and they come to New York and they, play, sold out shows to one person. They have one fan, whose name is Mel, who's very, very obsessed with them. And at one point there's another episode where they have one cup and the other guy in the band buys another cup for $2. And it ends up fucking up all of their bills. And so they can't pay any of their bills. So they're forced to sell their guitars. And so they have to do a gig where they just use air guitar and air bass.
I could have been in that band, but destroying the equipment wouldn't be as fun.
Yeah. So, actually they have a song about robots, about killing robots. And if you want to kill robots, you use poisonous gases to poison their asses.
Nice.
Actually, no, I'm sorry. It's from the robots' point of view. So the humans are dead.
Oh, wow.
The humans are dead. Anyway,
Craziness.
There it is. So, yeah. Next up on the agenda.
Next up, Nirvana invited the audience on stage to start a riot.
Not surprised.
Oh, man. Nirvana was so far ahead of its time. I would have loved to have seen a lot of this stuff happen. Nirvana was playing at a venue called Mississippi Nights near St. Louis one evening in 1991. There were more fans than tickets. So an obvious tension was already in the air. Then they noticed the venue security team acting on the rougher side, and Kurt Cobain threatened to stop playing if they kept it up. I could see Kurt Cobain not a fan of the bouncers and security.
No.
But Nirvana played a few more songs, but the musicians were still unsatisfied with how security was treating the audience. They then invited everyone in the venue to get on stage, but didn't expect the audience to start rioting when they got up there.
What did they think they were going to do?
Yeah.
Just come up and just
a
like
bunch of
hang
high
out?
fives, just high fiving everybody. Luckily, Grohl managed to save the drum. The more I'm into this, the more I realize Dave Grohl was like the backbone of fucking Nirvana. He always had to save the day and shit.
Yeah.
But Grohl came out in there, saved the drum kit from the mob, and just absolute madness from the Nirvana World Tour.
Yeah. Absolute craziness. Next up, we've got They Asked Homophobes to Stay Away and Kissed on Saturday Night Live. So Nirvana was famously in support of every kind of equality, demanding their shows be all ages, and speaking out for those who were discriminated against. They were anti-bullying for sure. In the liner notes of Incesticide, Cobain ends his note with a word for those fans with different ideas about equality. At this point, I have a request for our fans. If any of you in any way hate homosexuals, people of different color, or women, please do us this one favor. Leave us the fuck alone. Don't come to our shows and don't buy our records. When Nirvana appeared as musical guests on Saturday Night Live in 1992, they seemed to be continuing their message. As the cast gathered on the stage at the end, Chris Novoselic kisses his fellow bandmates. They later said that they wanted to use the opportunity to annoy those with different views about sexuality and gender. So once again, ahead of the game.
I was about to say, once again, ahead of their time.
Yes.
They once bonded with Steve Albini over prank calls. Right? Who the hell is Steve Albini?
Steve Albini.
Is that their manager or something?
No, he's a music producer. He was in, what the fuck?
Metallica?
No. Damn it. I have to look it up.
All right, I'll come back.
You read this.
Yeah,
and
I'll get
tell
started.
You, when I don't remember, he's in a famous punk rock band.
Steve Albini was brought on as a teenager. As a teen. Steve Albini was brought on as an engineer to help Nirvana record In Utero in 1993. He was initially skeptical of the group, but they soon found things to bond over, including their love of goofing off. When the members of Nirvana weren't recording, they would make prank phone calls to people they knew, including Eddie Vedder and Evan Dando, the lead singer for the Lemonheads. On one occasion, they called Dando at his hotel pretending to be Madonna's personal assistant. Oh, yeah. Apparently, the goal was to keep Dando on the line for as long as possible to rack up a pricey phone bill.
So yeah, I think he was. It doesn't say it in the thing. I thought he was in Husker Du, but apparently he was not in Husker Du.
Maybe
but,
he was an engineer for them.
Anyway, yeah. All right. So anyway, yeah, I'm gonna go down some different thing I don't want to go down. So anyway. All right, Kurt Cobain smeared lipstick on his neck before a show to poke fun at rednecks. So really tying back to our initial story here.
Knoxville, Tennessee.
Yeah, Knoxville, Tennessee. I know you're from Tennessee. That was my Andy Kaufman impression. It's what you do down here in Tennessee. You redneck, Jerry Lawler, you redneck Tennessee. All right.
Andy Kaufman, he was from New York, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a Yankee.
I'm from New York City. I'm a star. I'm not from Tennessee like you. Just hilarious. Definitely could see some parallels between Kurt Cobain and Andy Kaufman. So, but anyway, Kurt Cobain always had a thing against redneck, metal-headed morons with no sense of his message, and Nirvana liked to poke fun at them whenever they had the chance. At one show, Cobain took the fun to another level. Nirvana was playing with Attica, the band of former Nirvana drummer Aaron Burkhard. When Burkhard noticed Cobain had red lipstick smeared all over the back of his neck, on a Reddit AMA, why does he have to have a name that is difficult? Anyway, one of his favorite memories is after I left the band, my new band opened for Nirvana, and Kurt showed up with his neck all painted red with lipstick and declared himself a redneck.
Craziness.
Yeah.
Dave Grohl, Ray, wasn't usually recognized by people, even the fans. Dave Grohl was often not recognized, saying, wait, hold on, my thing's not. Are you having problems with this website, like scrolling?
No, not really.
Okay. Dave Grohl was often not recognized, saying, I was just the drummer. I could walk in the front door of a Nirvana show and people wouldn't really recognize me. So I kind of got to experience it all from the outside. Even security at the 1993 Live and Loud concert were skeptical of his identity. It gave him difficulty about going backstage. Amy Finnerty, director of talent relations for MTV, was with him all the time. She says, Dave was standing there like, I'm actually in the band. He said he sounded like such a jerk for saying that. And then he told the security guard, I played the song, dun, dun, dun. Just did the opening chords to Smell Like Teen Spirit. And the security guard was like, oh yeah, you're that guy. And he let us in. It was really funny.
That, you know what? That's ridiculous too. Have you ever seen the picture too? You know what Totally Looks Like is? Have you seen that before?
Yeah.
So they have like, totally looks like the singer from the Foo Fighters totally looks like the drummer from Nirvana.
Wait, who?
The singer from the Foo Fighters totally looks like the drummer from Nirvana.
Wait, the fucking Dave Grohl. Same guy.
Exactly. Anyway.
There goes my hero.
You know what song was about Kurt Cobain?
I did not.
Yeah.
I did not. Yeah.
It's ordinary.
I wonder if he would have made that song about him while they're in the band, though.
I don't know. Maybe.
Kurt Cobain seemed like a handful.
Yeah, and this next story, actually remember this. This is on Headbangers Ball. Kurt Cobain wore a ball gown on MTV's Headbangers Ball. This is an interesting era for Headbangers Ball, too, because this is kind of like...
Was this with the bald guy?
No. This is
pre-bald guy?
Yes, this is pre-bald guy. This is Ricky Rackman era.
Ah, okay. See, I didn't watch Headbangers Ball at this
juncture.
I probably didn't watch much of it at any juncture, but I was aware of it.
So as would later be evidenced by a feud between members of Guns N' Roses and Nirvana at the 1992 MTV Video Music Awards, the Nirvana boys were not fans of the mainstream metal scene. Kurt Cobain even referred to it once as corporate rock. So it seemed odd that in 1991, Nirvana was booked to appear as guests on Headbangers Ball. An MTV interview show solidly based in the metal genre. Dave Grohl was apparently uninterested and didn't attend, but Cobain's wardrobe choice had become a legend in MTV history. Appearing in a bright yellow ball gown, Cobain proved he was extremely out of place, and he knew it. Host Ricky Rackman remembered how awkward it was. I don't watch that show, even though it's pretty historic. And hey, I got to interview Nirvana. It was one of the worst interviews I've ever done, and you could just tell that I didn't want to be there the whole time because they did not want to be there either. So there it is.
Can't blame them.
Yeah. So damn.
Did they get paid for those appearances? Probably not, right? Headbangers Ball.
I don't know. I
Probably got a sandwich and like
Yeah.
a soda or something.
I mean, that was 1992. They were making fucking money hand over fist. So
Yeah.
anyway, all right. So that's the list. The final countdown. Tell us
Final countdown.
tell us what you guys think. Did you enjoy? Do you want to see this on the show further?
Hit us up.
Yes, hit us up. JerkOfAllTradesPodcast.
All right.
Gmail.com. So
Yeah, that is correct. Let's go home. But first, wise words from the jerks. You ready, Ray?
yes, you're going first. I thought.
All right. I will go first. I didn't know if you were on the, outline or whatnot.
Yeah, you can go first.
All right. So my wise words for this week is be careful when pointing fingers because fingers could be pointed back at you. This ties into our original story, Keaton Jones's mother.
Yes.
You can't fault her for getting her son's story out there, but just from the phrase here, you got to be careful when you point the finger at people, whether it's in the workplace, in your family, or just anywhere, because everybody's got their demons. Everybody has something that can be singled out by other people as well. Nobody's perfect in this world. So just think twice before you're being too judgmental of another person. And, just realize that when you're pointing something out about somebody else, that same person can point something out about you and it could be worse.
Absolutely. Completely agree.
All right, that's all I got for that one.
Got to check yourself before you wreck yourself. So yeah. All right. Here's mine. Mine's a little bit less free flowy. I wrote this out, so I'm gonna read verbatim what I wrote. So this is
this is a famous quote, right?
The quote is yes, but the rest of it I wrote. So memento mori, and that actually means in Latin, one day you will die. So memento mori, remember, one day you will die. Remember, the physical form you utilize to experience this world will cease to be. While it may be in the back of your mind, it is something you try not to dwell on. That may be to your detriment. Remember, while on the surface it may seem morbid to think often of your own mortality, that is but just one way of looking at this coin. The impermanence of oneself can be a fire within to make the very most out of each moment that you are gifted on this planet. Remember, just the sheer fact that you manifested in your current form defied astronomical odds. Trace it back and think of all the stars that needed to align to make the you that inhabits this realm. Astounding, to say the least. Remember, nothing is promised. Not tomorrow, not next week, not next year, not even today. Thus, you must strive to overcome your fears, worries, anxieties, and make the very most out of this life. You must live it like you'll never get another one. Remember, one day you will die. You will die. Memento mori.
There it is.
All right. So, with that being said, let's InspiroBot.
I forgot. Damn it.
let's hit the road. I'm already on InspiroBot, so I'll do mine first.
Okay.
It's a staircase. Looks like a kind of shitty staircase made out of bricks or something. It looks to be kind of falling apart, and it says, "Cats are obsessed with public perception."
Oh, shoot. That couldn't be any further from the truth, though, right?
Yeah, they don't give a flying fuck. They really don't give a flying fuck.
They do groom themselves quite a bit, but,
yeah.
Other than that, not really. Well, I got a semi-interesting one here. It looks like a man standing on the roof of a high-rise building of sorts, staring out over the city, and it says, multi-resistant bacteria of the universe team up to stop mayhem. That is not wise words from the jerks. That is
No,
wise words
is-
from Inspirobot.
That is Inspirobot. I actually got a perfect one that ties into my wise words, and that is consciousness is unsustainable, and it is people being filmed at a concert.
Nice.
So consciousness is unsustainable. It is impermanent like everything else.
Dude, I got maybe one of the most like random Inspirobots ever. It's like almost like a real like inspirational picture or whatever. It just says, be special, be honest, be dynamic.
There you go.
Huh.
Do it up.
I think they're changing it up because they want to sell t-shirts now.
Yeah.
Because remember the original Inspirobots had like just like the craziest
Right.
like Albert Einstein with
the killer clowns.
masturbate to room service.
Right.
Like there's not as much of that going
Yeah.
on anymore.
Yeah. It needs to get a little bit more vulgar. But
You can't put masturbate to room service on a t-shirt, I guess.
I mean,
You could.
You could.
Probably not going to sell much.
And if anybody's going to do it, we're going to do it.
Yeah, there you go. So yeah, thanks for sticking with us.
Yeah.
We will be back.
We love you guys, and we're out.